Hello, and welcome to the GLX Game Engine. This is a game engine built in Turbowarp to make 3D games easier. This is powered by the Simple 3D extension, which uses WebGL for rendering. It is designed to be used for the GLX, a console that I've been working on for a little bit. In this video, you'll learn how to use cameras, objects, scenes, and many more things to create scenes such as this. So, let's get started. When we first open up Turbowarp and we choose to open up our GLX engine, I'm currently on 1.2 beta, which means that there's not going to be many features. You will see this nasty looking warning for extensions. This thing basically tells you that there are custom extensions outside Turbowarp inside this project. I've tested all the extensions and they're safe. So you can just hit allow and it's going to look a little funky, but just to see what it does, let's hit the green flag. And we see this plain checker thing, skybox, and a cube. Not necessarily much, but a great start. So, other than when you move your mouse around up at the top right corner and you see these things, you can't really do much of anything. That's because you need a controller. Like I said, this is designed for the GLX, a game console that I'm working on. Let's go to here. You'll see this weird thing, but just look for this. What this has is your most important thing. And let's focus on camera setup, FOV. As you see, you can set your FOV, your field of view. So when we hit the green flag again, it'll change our zoom. Let's go to advanced and turn off the compiler. So that way we can see things in real time. Now, after messing around, you'll see orbital camera control. This is your camera preset. There are a few other presets that you can use to move the camera around the scene or set it where it's at. For example, first person camera control. Now, you only move on the X and Z axis, but not the Y, unless you press the A and B keys. So this may feel more natural when looking at different types of maps. Or you can simply set the camera to a custom position like this, and we can move it up, move it back, and rotate it around those axes, which is nice. Let's set this back. Now let's look at draw scene. Your scene is everything that's on your screen. So, now if I middle click this, it'll bring me over here. Draw scene, and you'll see a bunch of these blocks. This is how the game engine draws things in real time. Let's start with no transformation block. What this is basically like your go to 0, 0. Then we have the move block. This changes your position, kind of like, changing your X or your Y position in Scratch. So that's fairly simple. And then you have rotate. But instead of counterclockwise or clockwise, you have, if we take this out, you have different axes to go by, which all affect. And then you have scaling, which is basically setting your size. But there's squash and stretch, so you can change the scaling of different objects, like so. But then you have the wrapper. The wrapper basically resets everything to the last action. So for example, go to 0, 0. What this is basically doing is saying this. But instead of having to add a specific block to every single area, it cleans it up by making it a C block, so it groups things and looks nicer. And then you have draw. This adds whatever you want into the scene at that position, rotation, and size. Now, we have 3 different meshes with these names. These names are objects. An object is a mesh that has a texture that can be interacted with inside the game engine. How do we check what objects we have? What this thing is, if we hit this object, this cube with a number that says objects, it allows us to see what we have. It shows us the texture that they have, their texture name, and which object they are, which is pretty nice. We can swap this cube out for a sphere, and would you look at that? We have a sphere. We also have a cone, so we can replace it with a cone, and so forth. We can also go into our custom editor and change these. I wouldn't bother messing around with these unless you really know what you're doing. Now, what if you want to add in your own object? Importing objects is fairly simple. If you hit this plus object here, it'll ask for the object name. What do you want to call this object? I have this room model, and then it's going to ask for the texture. So I'm going to name it stones, because the room's texture looks like stones. So then, it'll ask us to select or drop a file. If we click on this, we find the file. The OBJ file, the model, is inside now, and then all you have to do is add your texture. So let's go ahead and find it, but nothing. Well, as you see, we don't have it in our code yet. So let's go ahead and create a new wrapper and draw mesh room, or whatever model name you have. And if we drop it, there it is. And because of the earlier blocks here, we can move it around, scale it. So let's move it up, maybe not that much, like 1, and then let's scale it up a little bit. And there you have it. You have this weird looking room, this level, which looks really cool. Now, what if you don't like this, or you didn't mean to import it, and you want to get this out of here? Well, it's as easy as hitting this button and entering the object name, so room, and it's gone. And you can take the code out, and you'll see it's no longer there. Or you can right click on an object and delete the item there. Now if you go back and look at the bottom of that script, you will see something called CloneWorks. I will talk about that in a different video. But for a short summary, all it is the rendering system for clones, like particles and enemies and coins and other things such like that. Thanks for joining me in on this video. Links are down below for the GLX engine. If you want to join my Discord and talk about some stuff, or have questions about my console or the game engine, or you just want to hang out with some nerds making random things or watching me work on my stuff or see what other people are working on. That's all from me. This is the Wyatt channel, and I'll see you later.